So we will begin. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vishtam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarani Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Sri Harinam CINTAMANI series every Saturday and Sunday. We are practically in the last few verses of the chapter 15, where the prayojan, how to attain Krishna Prem through the chanting of the holy names, is being discussed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And especially the whole internal journey where the bhajan is very internal, and the internal purification of the heart when one is self-realized, and the spiritual development of the spiritual body progression has been discussed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And in this progression, there are these 5 states: Shravana Dasha, Varana Dasha, Smarana Dasha, Apana Dasha, and Sampatti Dasha. So practically, if you see, the whole 15 chapter is speaking about the journey through these all 5 states. We have up till now seen the Shravan Dasha, the Varan Dasha. Yesterday we spoke about Apana Dasha before discussing Smaran Dasha. And the reason being, Apana is the Dasha when one attains Bhava Bhakti. So the goal is first discussed, and how to attain that goal. Sambandha Abhidaya Prayojan. So the Prayojan, first we visit Prayojan, and from the Prayojan, Sambandha is established, Abhidaya is done, and again we revisit the Prayojan. So yesterday I gave that example of BMW. You see the BMW car, I want it. First is the goal, I want the BMW car. And then now you have established a relationship with BMW car. You visit the car showroom, you find out the price, then you work next 2 years to, get enough wealth to buy the BMW car. So all that 2 years of efforts to attain the prayojan is abhidheya. And then the day you have that money, you go to the showroom and buy the car, you feel a joy in the heart, you get prem towards BMW, but that doesn't stay for a long. So Apan Dasha is discussed before going more into the details of Smaran Dasha. So yesterday we saw that also in our discussions. Now we also saw yesterday about how the meditation Smaran Dasha is also there in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And yesterday we discussed some practical hints about it. And I mentioned, if you remember, it is very, very important for devotees to, cultivate the remembrance of Krishna. Remembrance of Krishna. As sadhakas, the two types of meditations, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So this was the verse we had discussed. Smaran Dvida Vaidhi Raganuga are Raganuga Smriti Yukti Shastra Hoite Par. So in Raganuga, by following the Vaidhi, you will attain Raganuga. So how to meditate in Raganuga, in Vaidhi, how to remember, because even the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu mentions that Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, the Padma Puran shloka. So yesterday we discussed some practical application as sadhakas, what we should do. So anyone remembers them, would like to share yesterday what we discussed? What are the practical things we need to do? Anyone would like to share their thoughts about it? Yes, Vikram Singh Prabhuji. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, very much.
Two practical things that we have to very bhakti bhakt have to do is, one, we have to uh, remember and smaran whatever we have heard from Krishna Leelas, or whatever we have read, or what we have lectures we have heard from Gurudev. And the second is
No, no,
writing down.
Hold on. How do we do that practically? How do we do that?
Smaran, Prabhuji, remembering throughout the day.
Yeah. Just saying Smaran will not help. But how will you practically implement it?
Practically implement, Prabhuji, we will have to write down while the class is when the class is going on. We have to write down.
Make notes.
Make notes.
Make
Make
notes
and think about that. Think about what we have learned from the class, the point which we have to remember.
Yes, make notes from classes. Speak to a friend. Okay, right? Speak to a friend, and then what else? Then there is before you make notes and speak to the friend, you can say there is a mananam, contemplation on what you have heard. Contemplation on what you have heard, and then speak to the friend, right? Yeah. So what else did we discuss? What else we can do? What else we can do? Anyone else also would like to share? Can are free to do so. What else you would like to do? Anyone else? Yesterday we discussed quite in detail. This is very, very important for us. I mentioned, if we don't do this, we will be stuck in Vaidhi Bhakti and will never come to the stage of Raganuga platform, where we can start practicing Braj Bhakti and attain Bhava Bhakti and then Prema Bhakti. What else? Anyone else? Niranjan Prabhuji, what else you will do?
Hare Krishna, association with devotees.
No, please be very, very specific. If you are associating with devotees, how are you remembering Krishna? I am speaking about in a class when you hear a lecture, what all you will do to remember, what you have heard. So we discussed, in the slides now, which I'm sharing again. How will you? Yes, in the association of devotees, we can remember. If you are just associate and talk about worldly things or talk about how is your life, in association you discuss Krishna Katha. Yes, if you discuss Krishna Katha, that itself is not enough. You just hear. And what you have heard, if you don't contemplate, that is a general point. I want to know specifically what you are going to do to meditate on Krishna. Meditate on Krishna means meditate on Krishna's instruction. Meditate. What practically we are going to do? What you are going to do about it? Are you clear, Niranjan Prabhuji?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Yesterday I didn't attend the classes.
Okay, okay. Then you will have to attend it. Then you will understand the discussion. Geeta Mataji, yesterday were there. What else practical things we can do? Yes, Mataji. You would like to share something? Hare Krishna. Oh, your audio is not. So yesterday I mentioned also reciting shlokas. Very powerful. It is very, very powerful method to remember Krishna always in sadhana stage. So this is 3. Some yagya going on in the next neighbor door. Then singing Vaishnav bhajans and reflecting on the meanings. So these are some of the practical things we need to do as Vaidhi sadhakas. So if we don't do this, then then we will not make much advancement in our Krishna consciousness. In Raganuga sadhana, with the purification of the subtle body, the remembrance is natural and a little more spontaneous. And there are also techniques further, and that is what is being discussed. Here the meditations on Krishna Leela are more intense because you have taste. Then meditation on the spiritual identity which you have been given by the spiritual master. Then Tishtan Vraje, to meditate on a favorite place in Vraja where you are more inclined to serve Krishna in that mood. So all these favorite places. So even in the material world, people who like food, they have their favorite hotels where they go and have, because they have love for it. So similarly, Raghunaga sadhaka is naturally inspired to do these kind of meditations. It is more natural and more spontaneous. So I've not mentioned any points, but these are very important for us. So I just once again I once again went through this. So this is what we discussed yesterday. And then by following Vaidhi sadhana, you get gradually elevated, and one should be wrapped in meditation like this. And then you'll attain bhavapan stage. And it's not like just by Vaidhi sadhana you'll directly attain bhava. No, you go through nishta, ruchi, asakti, step by step. And then you'll attain the apandasha. And the followers of Raganuga and Vaidhi devotional service do not attain different rule. The followers of Raganuga, we are following the Raga Marg, which is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raga Marga Bhakti Korite Pracharana. So Uttama Bhakti has a division: Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. And within Sadhana, there is Vaidhi Sadhana and Raganuga Sadhana. So we have to come to the platform of a Madhyam Adhikari, where he's engaged very seriously in bhajan, and he understands the shastras. He's Shraddhavan. He possesses deep faith. And the Uttam Adhikari is Shastrukta Nipuna. He's very expert in understanding the conclusions of scriptures, and he can present and defeat others. And Proud Shraddha, his faith is very strong, like a banyan tree. So at least to the platform of Madhyama or Uttama, we should come as Adhikaris to practice Vaidhi-sadhana. We should round remain in the Kanishta stage. Kanishta stage means his faith is very feeble, Komal Shraddha, and he can easily get disturbed, and his faith is like a banana tree. You can easily shake it. And his understanding of the Shastras and understanding of the Shastric conclusions, explaining the Shastras, all that is very, very weak. So we should not stay in the Kanishta platform, come to the Madhyam or the Uttama platform and practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti by remembering, as it was mentioned here in this verse, Smaran. And then we can go through the stages of Nishta, Asakti, Ruchi and attain Bhava. Now, although the Apan Dasha was discussed, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur will come to the Smaran Dasha, back to Smaran Dasha. So this is how we'll begin now today. I took briefly more in detail what we discussed yesterday because it was very important. So now let us begin with the discussion. Panchaveda Smaran, 5 kinds of meditation. Smarana, Dharana, Dhyana, Anusmriti are Samadhi Eya Panchavidha, Smarana Prakar. Smaran, Dharana, Dhyana, Anusmriti and Samadhi are the 5 kinds of meditation. So there is a footnote here. Okay. Smaran. Smaran is the initial stage of meditation where one meditates on his spiritual identity with its possession of 11 items, and one also meditates on one's service to the divine couple as they enjoy pastimes in the 8 periods of the day. So you can imagine how elevated and exalted is Smaran Dasha. Smaran Dasha is only possible when one has attained Nishta, where one is self-realized. One is above the bodily concept of life. One is a Sthita Pragya, and one understands his spirit soul. But what is the spiritual form that the Ekadasha Bhavas, especially his spiritual identity, that is confirmed by his spiritual master, and he starts now developing his spiritual body, internal meditation through internal meditation. So this internal meditation is very, very advanced stage in our Krishna consciousness. In fact, as long as one is not able to constantly remember Krishna, Smaran, one cannot practice Raganuga Bhakti. So Vaidhi sadhakas who are not able to 24 hours remember Krishna, they are not qualified to practice Raganuga Bhakti in one sense. So you can understand how exalted is Smaran. Now, just to drive the point very clearly, do this exercise. Whichever are your favorite deities, somebody might have a lot of attraction for Radha Gopinath or Radha Sham Sundar or Radha Madhav or Radha Giridhari in Mira Road. So just sit in the altar, in front of the altar, and just gaze at the deities. Finally, keep your focus of the eyes on the lotus feet. Absorb the picture in your heart and slowly move upwards, and then have the beautiful darshan of the Lord's lotus face. So like that, you do this, open-eyed meditation, and then When you go back home, sit in a calm, peaceful place and close your eyes, and now try to remember the picture of the beautiful lotus feet of the Lord. And if you try to visualize this picture in your mind screen, you cannot hold this picture for a long time. Why? Because still the heart is impure. Lot of kalmasha is there. So how difficult it is to come to the point of meditation, just as an exercise, please try and do it. And you'll see, even for 1 second you hold the picture, again, so many other thoughts come, so many other pictures, images, impressions come in the mind. So Smaran Dasha is very, very exalted, where you meditate on your spiritual identity and the 11 items, and meditate on your confidential service to the Radha Krishna. In this stage, meditation is neither perfect nor uninterrupted. So the meditation is not perfect in Smaran Dasha, and it is not uninterrupted. There is some interruption. For the meditator may be distracted in various ways. Meditating, one becomes steady in meditation. So practicing this Smaran, then one comes to the stage of Dharan. Dharan means to hold. So here I will show you in the slides. You can see the Smaran Dasha. One who is chanting in the stage of Smaran Dasha, he chants in ecstasy. He experiences ecstasy in his chanting. There is Smaran, and meditation is interrupted, but his meditation is on his spiritual identity, on his service to the divine couple. And then, it is because it is interrupted, as he steadily meditates, then he comes to the stage of Dharan. Now, just to give you an idea, what does the meaning of the term Dharan mean? Anyone would like to answer what it means, Dharan? What is Dharan? Just, it's a Hindi word also. Anyone can think about what does Dharan mean? Yes, Vikram Singh Prabhuji.
Is it a acceptance in the mind?
वरण धारण, अरे हिंदी में सोचो ना थोड़ा यार.
Dharan.
धारण.
मतलब धारण, acceptance Prabhuji, धारण करना.
Varan is acceptance. Okay, Niranjan Prabhuji.
Prabhu, to adopt, Prabhu, Dharan means adopt.
Oh, I don't know why devotees are not able to study Prabhupada books very deeply. Okay, Giridhari. I'm giving you a hint. Now at least somebody can answer. Giridhari, I said, na? What is the meaning of Dharan? Yes, Geeta Mataji.
To hold, Prabhuji, you told just now.
To hold. The Lord held the Govardhan mountain for 7 days. Dharan, Giridhari, that's why it's called. So Dharan stage is, in Smaran, you are trying to, in the mind screen, fix on the image of Krishna, his lotus feet, or his, and the meditation goes gradually. As in Ashtanga Yoga, the meditation is from the lotus feet till the Mukharvinda. So similarly, in Bhakti Yoga also it is to the lotus feet till the lotus face of the Lord. So it is interrupted, but Dharan means he is able to now hold. He is able to hold for some time the image in his mind screen, in his heart. And according to the Vara Puran, when one is able to hold on to a particular thought or a particular image for 12 seconds, remember, he is attained the stage of Dharan. That means you can imagine how much the mind is fickle, that it moves from one thought to another thought. And we are not able to even think about a subject matter for 12 seconds or even visualize an image in the mind screen for 12 seconds. If you can do that for 12 seconds, it's dharan. That is the stage of dharan. And for your kind information, when one is able to hold on that image for 12 into 12, that is, how much is 12 into 12? 148 seconds, right? 12 into 12, 144 seconds. So 144 seconds, if he is able to hold, then he attains the stage of dhyan. That means 2 minutes, 24 seconds, he is able to hold on the image in his heart. Anusmriti is continuous. He is able to hold it continuous. In the stage of samadhi, samadhi is 12 into 12 into 12. That comes to around 24 minutes or something like that. So 24 minutes he is absorbed internally in it. Almost like half an hour, you can say. Now I would like to make a very important point. If you're chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra attentively, say in your house or in the temple room, and you have a mobile and you get a ring, you get distracted from your chanting, you go and attend the call, you are distracted, and to get back your concentration on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it will take at least half an hour. At least half an hour. Because now you're distracted from that thought of being absorbed in the holy name. So how much important it is for devotees to sit in one place, leave everything apart, don't keep anything, any instruments at least, especially your mobile, while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and try to focusly and attentively chant the holy names. If we are not able to do this, we will not be able to make any tangible progress in our Krishna consciousness. So that's why, these discussions which we are having, they are very, very exalted. So let us practically discuss what we can do as sadhakas. Sit in a place where there is no distraction. Absolutely, there is no distraction. And there is one classic story from the Ramayana where His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj says that Valmiki Muni was, not Valmiki, Vishwamitra Muni was sitting and meditating in the Himalayas because he wanted to become Brahma Rishi in competition with Vashishta Rishi. And then Indra sent Menaka, and Menaka just started dancing. Her ankle bells started tinkling, chink, chink, chick, chick. And that sound was so much giving pleasure to the ears. His eyes were closed, but yet the mind was hearing and the mind was relishing that enjoyment. Now the sound had entered the mind, and in the sound there is form also. So he wanted to now experience the form, and he opened his eyes and he fell to the beauty of Menaka. And Vishwamitra Muni was cohabiting with Menaka. And time just passed by, and one day Vishwamitra Muni took his kamandalu early in the morning, and he was going to the river. So Menaka asked, Swami, where are you going? He said, what do you mean? Every day morning I go for my Sandhya Vandana, for my morning puja and bath. She said, but the last 10 years I have never seen you do so. What? I forgot to do my Sandhya Vandana for 10 years, being absorbed in you. So immediately he became very disgusted. He gave up the association of Menaka and went back again into meditation. So Vishwamitra Muni just got distracted by the ankle bell of Menaka. And where was he? In Himalayas. What age he was living in? Treta Yuga. And we are in Kali Yuga, filled with distractions. This age is the age of distractions, especially the mobile. So as far as possible, do an experiment. every day you go out, you carry your mobile. Why don't you in the evening just, okay, I'm going 2 hours, with my family. Let me cut off. Keep the mobile at home. Go and attend, go with the children to the garden, play and come back. I'm not telling you to do any spiritual activity. This simple thing also at least you start doing. So we should understand that it's a great source of distraction. And especially in the chanting, if we want to come to the mode of goodness, we have to adopt certain principles. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult. So now we have some idea of what is dharan. When all one's limbs are wrapped in meditation, the state is called dhyan. All the limbs are wrapped in meditation, it is that. When one meditates at every moment, the state is anusmriti. Pratipadam purnamrit asvadanam, sarvatma samam. Every step you're feeling nectar in chanting, every step you're continuously trying to remember Krishna. That is anusmriti. When the meditation is perfect and uninterrupted, one thinks only of Lord Krishna's pastimes and nothing else. That state is called samadhi. By meditating in samadhi, in this way, one attains apandasha. So here, it's very important, if you remember, from Smaran Dasha, you arrive at Apandasha, I mentioned yesterday. Just like you are going to catch a flight, you enter the airport premises. You have entered the airport, but that's not. You'll have to drive inside the airport because 1 or 2 kilometers is where the airport building is. And then you have to cross the security, go to the counter, get your boarding pass, go through the security, then go to the gate. From the gate, you enter the bus, which will take you to the airplane, and you enter into the airplane. That's when you have actually boarded the airplane. Similarly, in the Smaran Dasha, you arrive at the Apan Dasha, but you go through these stages of remembrance. And going through these stages, when you attain Samadhi, then you have arrived at Apan Dasha. You have attained Apandasha now. Arrival of attainment is arrival. It's a beginning, but actual attainment happens. Like actually boarding the flight is real boarding. Suppose you are a little late. You are in the airport, and the the flight gate is closed. Then you are not entered the flight. So Apandasha is when Smaran Dasha is fully developed. It is fully developed. And you have now attained the stage of Bhava. So that is what is being mentioned here by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. By meditating in Samadhi in this way, one attains Apandasha. Now he has attained Apandasha. In the previous footnote, if you remember, it was mentioned arrival. I think it was here only somewhere. The word attainment here means arrival of Apandasha. It's arrival. You have entered the airport inside, but now you have boarded the flight. You have attained Bhava Bhakti. People who are not expert may require many yugas to pass through these 5 stages of meditation. Mark this point of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But an expert person may be able to pass through them in a few days and quickly attain Apandasha. So please take very seriously these instructions. For us, these 5 states of Dasha crossing is, way, way ahead. We cannot think about it. Right now, we have to focus here. How we can remember Krishna in our Vaidhi sadhana practice. Constantly work on this. If we don't do work on this, where is the question of entering into Ragana Bhakti, and where is the question of these 5 states, going through these 5 states? There's no question. If we do this very meticulously, then when we enter this, then it will become easy. Otherwise, we'll be stuck for many yugas. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Okay, we finished this discussion of the 5 states of Smaran. Now I'll go to the next verse, text 94. the time of attainment. Bhavapana dashara udaya kal. Samadhi swarupa smrite a samaya hoy. Bhavapana dasha asi hobe udhay. When meditation reaches the stage of samadhi, then the stage of attainment arises. So here you saw the slide. When Smaran begins here, go through these 5 stages and you come to the stage of samadhi, then you attain apandasha. You enter the flight, you cross the gate, the door, enter and sit inside, then you have actually boarded the flight and then you can take off. So that's the attainment of the apandasha. Then text 95 and 96. Say samaya a avastha hai. The state of being at that time. What is the state of being at that time? Sai kale nija siddha deha abhiman parajiya jadadeya hobe adishtan. At that time, Sai kale, one completely identifies with his original spiritual form. Nija siddha deha abhiman. So when does the original meditation on the siddha deha begins? Siddha deha is attained here. He has attained his spiritual body. But when does the meditation on the siddha deha begins? Anyone would like to answer? When does the meditation begin on the siddha deha? When does the meditation on the siddha deha begin? Anyone can answer? Anyone would like to try? When does the meditation on the siddha deha begin? Geeta Mataji? When does the meditation on the siddha deha begin? Yes, Niranjan Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna Prabhupada. After leaving his body, his material body.
Prabhuji, please understand my question. At the stage of bhava, he has attained his spiritual body. But meditation on the spiritual body, at what stage in the bhakti? There are 9 stages in bhakti. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Anarth Nivritti, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava and Prem. When he begins meditating on the spiritual body, at the stage of bhava, he attains the spiritual body, Siddha Deha. But the meditation on the Siddha Deha, when does it begin?
Prabhuji, is it Prem?
No, you see, he is now attained bhava. At the stage of bhava, he's already attained the spiritual form, the spiritual body. So why in prema further perfection is there? Vikram Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, it's at the Mahabhava stage.
Oh my goodness. What is wrong with you all?
No?
What is wrong with you all? It begins from the stage when one starts practicing Raganuga Bhakti and one has attained the stage of Nishtha. One has attained the stage of Nishtha. We discussed this. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, and Nishtya. Shravan Dasha, he goes to the Varan Dasha. Then Smaran Dasha is Ruchi and Asakti. Bhava is Apan Dasha, where he has attained his spiritual body. In Prema, he is completely sheltered in the spiritual world. And his complete destruction, Atyantiki, full destruction of the material existence has happened. In fact, in Bhava also there are traces, little bit traces left because of aparad, little slight traces are there. It's like 99.9% is pure in his sadhaka sharira, in fact. So please understand these concepts very, very clearly. So he completely identifies with his original spirit. Here, meditation on his original spiritual body, he begins from the stage of Raganuga Sadhana, which is usually starts at the stage of Nishtha. and goes to the stages of Ruchi, Asakti. Within the stages of Ruchi, Asakti are the Smaran Dashas, the 5 states. And then at stage of Bhava, when Smaran Dasha is completed and you have come to the stage of Samadhi, you attain Bhava Bhakti. At Bhava Bhakti, one's Swarupa is revealed. One's Swarupa is revealed. The idea of identifying with the dull and the inert material body is completely vanquished. So the identification with the gross body and the subtle body is vanquished. There is a footnote. In Apandisha, one throws far away the idea that the external material body is a self. Then the soul's understanding of his original spiritual identity and spiritual form becomes very strong. It becomes very strong. Okay, next verse. Takana swarupe braja vasa shane shana bhavapane swaswarupe heri vrajavana. Moment after moment. Shane shana. One resides in Braja. Here Braja Vana. He resides in that stage. Takana Swarupe of attainment. One sees his original spiritual form. Bhavapane Swaswarupe in the forest of Braja Vane. So he is continuously residing, although physically he might be residing in America or India or wherever he is traveling and preaching, but he is continuously residing in Braj in his spiritual form. There's a footnote. Situated in one's original spiritual form, one resides in Vraj moment after moment. Situated in one's original spiritual form, one feels great pleasure in serving Shri Radha and Krishna. Situated in one's original spiritual identity, for many moments one gazes at the spiritual abode of Raj. Then the spiritual pastimes of the divine couple become manifest. Okay, so now the next theme is text 97. So this is Raganuga Bhakti, attainment of Raganuga Bhakti. Perfection in Raganuga Bhakti is attained. Raganuga Bhakti sadhana also Rupa Goswami mentions in the Upadeshamrit. In the Upadeshamrit text 8, he mentions Tannamarupa Charitadi Sukirtanano Smartyo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya Tishtan Vraje Tad Anuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayeta Kilam Ityupadesha Saram. You know, the transcendental, the advice, the essence of all advice, Akhila Ityupadesha Saram, is that one should utilize one's full time. Akhilam. Akhilam means here, what does Prabhupada say? Full. Nait. Utilize full time. And Prabhupada is saying 24 hours a day. Very, very clear. If you remember yesterday, we discussed this verse. And Prabhupada Anudinam says every day. This is for Vaidhi Sadhakas. For Raganuga, it is 24 hours daily. So, there's some problem. Okay. So 24 hours a day. In nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, pastimes. So at the stage of Nishta, one is steadily chanting, he's able to hear the holy name. At the stage of further advancement, the form in the heart manifests and Krishna's wonderful qualities. And as he attains perfection in Raganuga sadhana, the pastimes, manifest in the heart. And at Bhava Bhakti, they become very spontaneous. How to do that? Smartyo Kramena. Smartyo means to remember. Anuspriti. Anuspriti is there. Anuspriti means in remembering Krishna. Anu means continuous remembrance. Kramena, gradually, engaging the tongue and mind. The tongue should be engaged to vibrate the mantra and the mind should be attentively hearing the mantra. Niyojya means to engage. And is residing in Vraj, Tishtan Vraje. So this is the same point Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning. He's the, his moment after moment he resides in Vraj, and he is now realized his spiritual form in Golok Vrindavan. Okay, so now let us take text 97. Any questions you have, you can always raise your hands. In the state of attainment, one regains his original spiritual form and identity, and his subtle material body is broken. Apane Swarupa Siddhi, Vastu Siddhi, Linga Bhanga. Apane Swarupa Siddhi, Labe Bhagyavan, Linga Bhange, Vastu Siddhi, Sampati Vidhan. In the state of attainment, a great fortunate soul regains his original spiritual form and identity. Apane means attainment. Swarup Siddhi attains the spiritual form. Labe Bhagyavan, fortunate soul. And his subtle material body, Linga Bhanga, is broken. He attains great good fortune. So everyone knows there is the gross body and the subtle body. So at the stage of bhava, the subtle body's connection with the soul is completely cut off. He is still residing, he has still a gross body and he has a subtle body, but the connection of the soul is cut off completely. The subtle body and the gross body have now completely spiritualized. They have become completely spiritual. At the stage of bhava, this happens. So this we should remember. Okay. Text 92. Any questions? There's a footnote. Let us see the footnote. When one worships and worships in this way, Lord Krishna personally reveals himself. That is inevitable. By one's own desire, the gross and subtle material bodies become destroyed. The gross body made of 5 elements falls away, and the subtle material body of the material mind intelligence also falls away. Then the soul's original spiritual form is manifested, and the soul serves the divine couple in the spiritual world. So here we should remember that falls away means, the connection is cut off. Now he is still residing in a gross and subtle body, and when the right time comes, he gives up the gross and the subtle bodies and leaves this world. Mahabhagavat leaves this world, and he goes back to the spiritual world. And usually, before going to the spiritual world, he first, enters into Krishna Lila, wherever Krishna is performing his pastimes in any of the universes. He is born there in the womb of a gopi, based on the cultivation of Raganuga sadhana, what he has done. If he has been having the mood of a Saka, then he will be born as, Gopa. If he has been meditating on Vatsalya, then he will take either a male body or a female body and become an elderly Gopa or elderly Gopi in Vatsalya Ras. If his meditation is on Madhuri Ras, then he will be having a female form in the Madhuri Ras. So he will be born there, and then further perfection is attained. And then after Krishna winds up his pastimes, that there in that Vrindavan, in any of the universes, then he will go back to the spiritual world. This is a very important point to be remembered. And where in the Bhagavatam first canto is the narration of how a sadhaka attained perfection, gave up his gross and material bodies, and attained a spiritual body in his next life. Where is the example given in the first canto? Anyone knows? This basic fundamental teaching is there right in the Bhagavad Gita also. Sorry, in the Bhagavatam first canto. Anyone knows in which incidents in the first canto this description is given of the gross and subtle body being destroyed, and in the next life he attains a spiritual body? I think devotees don't read the Srimad Bhagavatam regularly. First canto Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm already giving a hint. Vikramji.
Haribol Prabhuji.
Yes.
I can't remember Prabhuji. Whose katha is that?
Okay. Geeta Mataji.
No, Prabhuji, I am not aware.
Have you read the first canto?
Yeah,
Where is the description where, a devotee, in his heart, he had the darshan, he felt ecstasy, but he could not, see the image of the Lord in the heart. Then the Lord spoke in the sky that in this life you will not see me. And then he started wandering in the forest, and then he gave up his body. And in the next life, he was, again when the day of Brahma began, he came in his spiritual body. Where is it mentioned? Okay, now they are raising the hands after giving so much hint. Yes, Mataji.
Narad Muni
Na-
in his
Narad Muni.
previous life.
Narad Muni in his previous life, he gave up that material body, gross, and it is mentioned Pancha Bhautika Deha. He gave up. It fell away. Exactly the word is fell away there. And in the next day of Brahma, he came in a spiritual body. So Narad Muni has a spiritual body. That's why he can travel anywhere in the material or the spiritual worlds. So please read this Narad Vyas Samvad repeatedly, right in the first canto. How, by practicing the Bhagavad Dharma, hearing and chanting, how one will go through these stages of Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan, Kriya, Anarth, Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava and Prema, and give up the material connections and attain the Lord. Is all mentioned. And there it is mentioned, the analogy is given of a thunder light and lightning and thunder. The thunder is, destruction of the material bodies, both gross and subtle, and the lightning is attaining the spiritual body. The verse is there like that. So please study this. Very important. Repeatedly, one should study the Narad Vyas Samvad. You will get a lot of inspiration to practice your devotion. Narad Muni, he was just a son of a maid servant, and just by associating with the Bhaktivedantas, he attained perfection. So we get a lot of hope there. Okay. I finished the footnote. Now, the next verse is text 98. Sadhana Siddhera Phala, the result attained by practicing sadhana, devotional service. Haya sadhana siddha, nitya siddha saha, samata labhiya, Krishna seve, ahar aha. Souls who were once conditioned but attained perfection in devotional service, sadhana siddha, are equal to souls who were always perfect, nitya siddha. Both serve Lord Krishna day after day. So there are three types of siddhas. Anyone knows which are the three types of siddhas? At least two. Anyone knows? We can attain siddha perfection by two ways, and already in this verse it is mentioned, but there are three. So anyone who knows three, or at least two, you can answer. Yes, Mataji.
Sadhana Siddha and Nitya Siddha as it is in the
Yeah, it is
first
there in
version.
the verse. And okay, sadhana siddha means, what is the meaning?
Uh, who attains perfection with efforts means taking efforts and
No, just think about the word sadhana siddha.
with sadhana means doing the sadhana who is attaining the perfection,
Yes, that is sadhana. Nitya siddha means what?
who is already in the stage of perfection.
Yeah, they are the eternal associates of Krishna from the spiritual.
Yeah.
There is another type siddha, you can become siddha. What is that other third one? What is the third one, Mataji?
Don't know, Prabhuji.
Kripa Siddha. Kripa Siddha. Just Krishna
Okay.
can give Kripa and he can attain perfection without performing sadhana, and that is rare. It's very rare. So we are sadhakas and we are performing sadhana, and by sadhana we attain siddhi. So we are conditioned and we perform sadhana and attain siddhi. Once we attain siddhi, then we are equal to the nitya siddhas. The sadhana siddha becomes a nitya siddha. When he goes back to the spiritual, he becomes a nitya siddha. The nitya siddha, the eternal associates of Krishna, is always residing in the abode of the Lord, and they are always giving happiness to Krishna. And both of these now, the sadhakas who have become siddhas and the nitya siddhas, engage, serve Lord Krishna day after day. Ahar, ahar. There's a footnote. Sadhana siddha and nitya siddha devotees reside together in the same spiritual abode. But there is kripa siddha also I mentioned. And don't ever expect that I'll get kripa and I'll attain siddhi. No, we have to do sadhana. Okay. I'll just take two more verses and finish up till 100. Then there are another, say, 15 verses, which we'll try to finish in 2 classes. That's how the discussion will end up. Okay, it's already 8:30, so I don't want to cross the time. So we will stop here. I will take up this next section in the next class. Naam Dwara Siddhi Labh, attaining perfection by chanting the holy name. So further there is some more. Then he summarizes everything, the whole path. After summarizing, then there is a short footnote, which is quite detailed. And then after hearing the discussion, the Lord gives a command to Haridas Thakur. There's a long footnote which we will briefly discuss, and how we can, what we have heard this prayojan, what is the practical way we can attain this, how we can participate in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada and slowly go towards this perfection. Some practical hints are given here. Rest is a footnote. And then this is the last verse. So in 2 classes, we will try to finish this last 17 verses of Sri Harinam Chintamani. Any questions, any clarifications anyone has? Okay, so we'll stop here. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna.